Welcome to Room for All, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of inclusive employment and explore the power of creating opportunities for people with disabilities. I'm Andrea Comastri, CEO and co-founder of Hotel Etico, Australia's first not-for-profit social enterprise hotel.
And I am Soraya O'Connell, General Manager of Hotel Etico. Together, we'll be your hosts as we talk about the importance of breaking down barriers in the workplace. We will have a particular focus on hospitality and other customer-facing roles, and how businesses can lead the charge toward inclusion.
At Hotel Etico, we believe that everyone deserves the fair chance to succeed. And we've made it our mission to not only provide jobs, but to build meaningful careers for people with disabilities. On this podcast, we will be sharing success stories, best practice, and inspiring conversations with industry leaders from the hospitality sector, the disability sector, other social enterprises, philanthropy, and of course, our own trainees, graduates, and staff.
Whether you're a business owner, an advocate for inclusion, or someone curious about the future of work, this podcast is for you.
So come and join us at Hotel Etico, or as we call it, the Hotel California for the Heart, a place where once you have checked in, your heart will never leave.
So let's get started and open the doors for all.
Hello, everyone. We are back in Room for All. Welcome to episode 2 of season 1 for Room for All. We're here at Hotel Etico, and I'm here with my co-host, Soraya O'Connell.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Soraya. And today, first in the studio, in person, is our special guest, our great colleague, Sophia Ballone. Hi, Sophia. How are you?
Good, thanks. Hi, everyone.
Welcome. Welcome to Room for All, the Inclusion in Hospitality podcast.
How does it feel to be our first in-person guest?
Yeah, I wish you had picked someone else.
Yeah.
That's how we roll, Sophia.
Yeah, I know I've learned that already.
You have to be comfortable in the discomfort.
That's right. So why don't you get us started, Soraya?
So, Sophia, first question is I want you to introduce yourself and what you do with Hotel Etico, and just tell us a little bit about you.
So who is Sophia Ballone?
Yeah, who is she? What does she do besides looking fabulous in pink?
Oh, thank you. Who am I? I guess first and foremost, my role here is employment manager. I feel like I am the tie between the training and the industry. I help the guys find employment once they finish up here with their 52 weeks of training, and help them prepare for that transition as well and during that transition, and then just keep tabs on them once they are actually settled in. So
it is a big job, and it is probably one of our most needed jobs, because if your role didn't exist, then we wouldn't be able.
That's right. That's the proof of success for the model. Absolutely. Is that the graduates secure employment and hold employment.
Yeah, no pressure,
and that the
guys.
Employees are supported. Yeah, no pressure.
So far, the results are fantastic. So, But Sophia, tell us a little bit more about yourself. First of all, can you put to rest once and for all how you pronounce your name?
Oh God, no.
For the general public.
Ballone, Sophia Ballone.
Ballone, okay. And where does the name come from?
It's Italian, but my parents are from Argentina. So my dad's side was, I believe, the generation Argentinian. So that's where the surname comes from. But
¿Tú hablas español?
Sí.
Muy bien.
Keep going. We could just do this whole podcast in Spanish.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be included.
That's fine. That's cool.
I actually, yesterday talking about it, I was saying I'm going to introduce Sophia in Spanish, and then I forgot about it. So.
We always say a lot of things. Oh, yeah, we should do this, we should do that. And I'm like,
so who's Sophia the person? Tell us a little bit about yourself personally.
What inspired you to work for Hotel Etico?
Well, as a person, I guess I am most importantly a mum to my little man, William, who keeps me on my toes constantly. And outside of that, I am a very creative person.
Colourful.
Very colourful.
Yes.
Right.
I am quite well known for my colourful hair, although it's
clothes.
It's due for an update, and yes, and clothes. I like to be as authentic as possible for who I am in expressing myself, in my beliefs, and I guess that also speaks to why I was inspired to join Hotel Etico family. From a young age, I knew that I wanted to do something that was meaningful, something that worked with human rights in some capacity. Originally, when I first left high school, I wanted to go into law and actually study human rights and become a human rights lawyer. But my journey took me a different way, and I fell in love with managing and management. So that's how I kind of landed in HR, and I like the human aspect of it. I'm one of my, interests outside of everything is psychology. So I majored that in my degrees, and I just somehow through the waves of life found my way in HR, and then was lucky enough to meet you guys as an employer.
Well, guess what, Sophia? Your journey actually got you exactly in the heart of the human rights. Behind us, on that frame, there's our certificate of award from the Human Rights Commission, because Hotel Etico in 2022 won the Human Rights Award. So I think it was
Great
meant to
journey.
be. It was meant to be.
Yeah,
You're in the right place, for sure.
Well, I'm super grateful. I knew from the first time I met you that there was something, and I was like, "Ooh, she needs to be at Hotel Etico." So I'm super, super grateful to have you. I think you're amazing.
Because before joining Hotel Etico, what were you doing work-wise?
I was a HR generalist at the Fullerton Hotel, Sydney.
The Fullerton, which is one of our partners,
yes.
right? So you knew our program, you knew our graduates,
Yes.
you knew us. So it was a great segue in a way into the next step of your career, I think.
Yeah.
So in today's podcast, we've probably got so much to cover when it comes to what you do and how you do it and employers and stuff. So we will try to probably need another 45 minutes. We'll do another episode probably. But I think the biggest things that we want to cover today is the importance of inclusive hiring. We want to get some takeaways for our listeners for that. Creating pathways from jobs to careers. So, we talk all the time that we don't want our trainees to go into jobs. We want them to go into careers. And then some takeaways for best practice for businesses to be able to actually implement and hire somebody with a disability. So we're probably going to need a few episodes of this one, but I think we'll try and at least give quite a lot of takeaways.
So inclusive hiring.
Why? I mean, we're preaching to the choir here, us three, because
Preaching to...
the choir. Isn't that?
I think you're preaching to the converted.
Converted? No, it's
No,
choir.
it's choir.
Ha! I got
It's
a metaphor
choir.
right.
I don't know.
Yeah, because
Anyway.
if you preach to the choir, you're preaching to people that already believe, that are part of the congregation that is there.
So if I have never loved you more,
Okay,
because I get
let's
all
agree
my
to disagree.
Yeah, we will have to. I get all my metaphors wrong. There was one, and for a year he's been teasing me about it. Something about salt.
Anyway,
Anyway,
do you want
no,
to share it?
I don't want to share it. It was so dumb. But it was dumb. But for my entire life, I was.
Now,
like,
let's
this metaphor
take this with a grand assault. That was Soraya's line, instead of let's take this with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
With a grand assault,
Look.
which doesn't work either. Doesn't make
Keep
sense.
in mind, right? I probably heard that metaphor, and I'm 40% deaf, and I read lips. So, I probably just make up my own stuff all the time. But thank you for proving that I just got a metaphor right, because that actually means the world to me.
You're welcome.
So why do you believe that inclusive hiring practices are essential for the hospitality industry?
I think the most obvious one is how much we are lacking staff in the hospitality industry, the necessity and requirement for and just yesterday I was looking at a video saying how many more hotels we're going to need within New South Wales.
40,000 beds or something,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
If we're struggling already now to be filling our hotels with the right amount of staff, then let's be honest, if we open that many more rooms, it's going to be a necessity. And I guess the best thing about opening that door to being a bit more inclusive and getting people with disability in is that it's a whole pool of people.
It opens up another pool,
And it's not just a pool that is rotating, like say your students that continuously rotate. Depends on what kind of visa or what kind of course they're doing, but it can be between every 6 months or every 3 years, and that longevity is not a good solid plan. But with people with disability, they're keen, they're excited, they're interested in working, which is not the same enthusiasm at least I found when I was in HR trying to recruit. Their dedication, their loyalty is next to none.
And if we combine that at government policy level with immigration tightening, and so there's fewer migrants coming, and with student numbers reducing as well, because the government is reducing that because of the housing crisis, there's a perfect storm in terms of having lack of staff.
Yeah.
And as you said, the biggest pain point for the industry is staff. And so that's where I suppose we come in, and inclusive practices help address that business problem.
Yeah.
And I think the difference is that we are training skilled staff. So we're not asking people to hire our graduates just to tick a box. We have skilled staff. They've been with us for a year. They're training in their elective. There's such a shortage of skilled staff within the hospitality space.
Yeah.
I mean, and, you can teach hospitality, don't get me wrong. You can walk in entry-level hospitality. But to actually have staff that can, already know the processes, already know the procedures. They've worked for a year in hospitality, and that's a long time sometimes for people in hospitality.
Oh, 100%.
I remember a turnover in one of the restaurants that I worked in was 2 weeks. People were lasting 2 weeks because they just couldn't cut it. I mean, it was a hot-headed chef, but they couldn't cut it. They really couldn't. They couldn't work. You're on your feet all day. It's a hard job. Hospitality is a hard business.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's surprising how many people go into it thinking that it's an easy job that will get them cash while they're studying or while they're in between something. And I think that's also part of the problem, that you don't have people that are passionate as much as what it used to be.
And the opportunities within the tourism and hospitality industry are huge.
To make a career as well.
You can come in and go from pouring a beer or cleaning floor all the way up to a general manager or
100%.
managing multiple hotels and anything in between, from HR
so
to business
much,
to accounting to anything.
There's
Back of house, front of house, yes.
Yeah, it's
social media and stuff like marketing.
It's a world in itself.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite things about hospitality. And when I was working in bigger hotels, is that the reality is in that one little space, you have everything.
It's
you
a world,
have
yes.
business. You have tradies, your chefs, and your team from the engineering teams. You have your frontliners. You have your middle management, your upper management. You deal with absolutely every single kind of person that you potentially would be in the external world, but within that one space.
100%.
So when I was travelling with Destination New South Wales, one of the things that came up was recruitment of people with a disability and how to actually make the recruitment process more inclusive. I know that we train our graduates, we prep them, we do mock interviews, we do resume training, resume building and all of that. And I think that that's really important because they're really big life skills. But what do you think of the normal recruitment process within hospitality? It's quite lengthy and formy, right?
Yeah, 100%.
How many forms did you fill out the other day?
That's just the beginning. But I definitely think it's very outdated.
Yeah.
I also think there needs to be a way to reintroduce trials. I understand that there is a lot of
award,
legal
payroll.
Yeah, there's a lot of legal reasons why we can't do trials anymore. But realistically, you look at some of our guys' resumes, and they haven't had any experience outside of Etico. So
it doesn't show who they are.
Exactly.
It doesn't show what they can do, and it doesn't show
and they don't have the
capabilities
skills and the confidence to articulate it
Exactly.
in an interview.
Like I definitely feel like what we do, how I support them through their interviews, it helps a lot. But even then, sometimes I'm sitting back and I'm watching them. I'm like, oh, I know you can do better than that. Like I know that it's just they're nervous, and while they might not necessarily admit it to me, they're always excited, and I'm like, I know it's exciting, but it's also nerve wracking, and I always tell them like it's okay to be nervous, as well as a little bit scared maybe, and even excited, but. Like at the end of the day, a job interview, and unfortunately, with people with disabilities, it doesn't necessarily give them the opportunity to really shine.
And let's not forget that the majority of our graduates have an intellectual disability rather than a physical disability. So that group we heard from Tracy Lee the other day is even more disadvantaged when it comes to employment.
Yeah,
so that's another layer of complication. But makes me think, I was thinking, because that's what I do, I just think.
This is why the conversation never sticks on point.
That maybe another way of sort of part of the recruitment, of the leading up to the recruitment through before graduation, is to actually have almost like familial type of incursions here by the HR, the recruitment people from hotels that come and see, almost like as mystery shoppers, our trainees in action at work. And so they see them here at work, which sort of makes up a little bit for that trial that they can't afford the risk of doing.
Yeah.
They see them here in action. So I think there's something in there that we could sort of think of. You don't look very enthusiastic about it, but
I think it's easier said than done because there's time restraints on HR. I think it's 100%. Like we've got industry partners that come and stay, come and visit, and we really encourage it. But for those that can't, I think, like the videos that we do, the skills videos, and I think that that's something that, and it shouldn't just be for people with a disability. There are so many, like the recruitment processes, like cover letters, are so outdated.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's just, it shouldn't just be for people with a disability. Yes, there should be some exceptions, but there are so many more people would really value from that. Like there are so many things, like it's so nerve-wracking going for a job interview. And I think people need to, it's a great skill to be able to interview and things like that. But there's so much that can be done. Like what about a walking interview? It puts people at ease. Like there's simple things that can be done to make things just that little bit more relaxed. Like I know when I interview, it's about a conversation. It's not an interrogation. And I feel like and I don't think people mean to interrogate people, but you're trained in a certain way in HR, right? No offense, Soph.
No, I think that was something that I always made a point of when I used to hold interviews. It's a conversation. It's to get to know each other. It's to see if you like what we're selling and whether we like what you're selling. It's not necessarily just a interrogation, like you said.
Another way that we as a business, to transition our graduates is what we've been working on and what Soph works on in the transition program is the work experience. So actually having work experience where you know that they want to work or where they've got interest to hire, that's another way. But we pay for that as a business. But for other people with a disability that aren't in Hotel Etico, it's really difficult.
And that's part of the reason why I've increased the work experience.
Absolutely. It's essential. Continuous improvement on the program. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I've increased it to an extra week for this new group because I think giving them a little bit of exposure a little bit earlier, but also giving the employer the opportunity to experience them. And so it gives us a bit of a chance for them to have that exposure to something, potentially a hotel that's bigger, because I can think of a couple of guys that would be exceptional for reception or concierge. Unfortunately, we're a boutique hotel. We can't give them the true experience of that.
Very different.
So yeah, and that's something that I'm very, very upfront with the partners that I do place them with in their work experience. I let them know, I'm like, okay, we just need work experience at this point in time, but we would really like you to consider off the back of work experience employment.
Yeah.
And it's kind of covers that trial without necessarily having to add another layer to it.
Yeah.
Another thing that I think employers could really use some help with is the forms and the process behind hiring somebody. It becomes really overwhelming for somebody with a disability. All of the forms, the technology behind it, constant emails and so on. How do you support the graduates to do that?
How I do it, I do it for them. So I'll sit down and have a conversation with them and fill it out with them. If the employer needs a point of contact, I'm their point of contact, because like you said, they do get overwhelmed with emails. They do some of them won't answer phone calls, and it's hard. There's a lot. Like, by all means, even for me, when I was looking for a job and trying to apply and going through the process, you're always on edge and you're always checking.
What are you laughing
Cover
at?
letter?
Yeah, didn't you hear my dig before about how outdated the recruitment process is, such as cover letters?
Yeah, but there's jobs and there's jobs. So yeah, I agree. Like, intuitively, one would think out there, well, you're doing it for them. They're not learning. Let's be honest. Like, what part of filling in a form is such an essential skill, and
I hate forms.
They might never be able to learn to do that.
Well,
we need to accept that.
Yeah, well, the other thing is a lot of these forms are very HRy. They're very legal language. So even to any lay person, you read that and you're like, what am I reading? I don't understand it. And so I think part of the reason why I like to do it with them is because I can explain it to them, and
easy read.
Yeah.
And put it into language that people understand.
Exactly.
We have, for example, here we have all of our policies in easy read. And I think that
So you're saying, in addition to sort of helping the graduate
not just with the forms,
completing
but
the form,
the employer.
helping the employer, employers, what we can do and what we do is help them transform their practices so that they're more inclusive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
And
100%.
Again, and I say this all the time, it's not just to help people with a disability, but if you make these slight changes, it actually helps every single person in that workplace.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's huge. There's so many different things that you can do. And we go in and we help employers do this. If you don't know, you don't know. But there's no silly questions. There's no dumb questions. It can be the stupidest question and we'll take that call.
What are some of the common misconceptions that businesses have about hiring people with disabilities?
They're not going to be as efficient.
And productive.
Yeah. By all means, the training period it will take them a little longer, but that's why we're here. We provide the support for their employer, for the graduates, so that they can take that extra time and learn it properly. Once they learn it properly, they'll be the first one to tell you you're doing it wrong. Yeah. So
there's a great chart that I think you guys used in your tour around the state to Destination New South Wales that shows the gap of skills and the fact that we fill in that gap. And that gap could reduce over time or could be always there to some extent or become bigger or smaller depending on the time, because lots of stuff happens in life, life events that create sort of a traumatic experience for a person that sort of puts a challenge.
There's two different gaps. There's a skills gap that you can train, or there is a gap
for capacity.
A capacity, adjustments, Soph, super short, can't reach the top shelf. That's an adjustment that we need to make for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the adjustments that you make for people with a disability is the same as making adjustments for anybody else. The work from home. a lot of people work from home
Yeah.
now.
So actually, that's a good example. Like, could you give us 2 or 3 practical examples of things that we've done, equipment that we bought, adjustments that we've made here at Hotel Etico that may have been even taken to the employers that try and sort of bridge that gap for some of our graduates? What have we done? What can be
Only
done?
2 or 3 because
Only a couple.
we could name.
a couple.
My favorite one that we have implemented here is the Queen and King
That is
sheets.
definitely
It's so
the
my
best one.
favorite.
It's so the favorite one.
Well, explain that.
So in our housekeeping area where we have our Queen and King sheets, we have a picture of a Queen and King rather than words Queen and King.
Simple.
Simple, easy. It's literally
so
cost
much
you
more
nothing, and it's so much more efficient. And everyone
Especially 'cause all
recognises
the
that.
So do you
Sheets
have
are
like
white.
what, King Charles and Queen Elizabeth?
No, they're
We should do that.
No, because not everyone recognises
not
them.
everybody recognises them. We've got the very visual, the easy.
Yes.
Queen.
And the words as well. So there's both,
Yeah,
right?
there is
There
both.
is both.
There is. And that is free. And again, it doesn't just help.
Yes.
So, like if I go in there, I'm like, where are the king?
What else from an equipment point of view?
From an equipment point of view.
Well, there's Dom.
Yeah.
Dom at the Fairmont. So
Mm-hmm.
he has dexterity,
Strength,
limitations,
yeah.
just strength limitations. And he loves housekeeping. He wanted to be in housekeeping. And his is a mop. He couldn't do housekeeping because he couldn't use the mop here. So it's about getting that assessment in. And that was all done through job
It's an
access.
awesome
Yeah.
mop.
It's an you can't. you're
Everyone
not meant-
wants it.
Yeah, everyone wants it. It went with him.
Yeah, it did go with
It
him.
went with him.
I
And
think
his
we've got
vacuum
another
as
one
well.
now because I saw someone else using it here. So I think we bought another one.
We did buy a new one. But a mop that you push in to drain instead of the ones
Without too much strength, and it just spins
those
it.
really
Yeah.
old school
Ah,
ones that
yeah,
you
that's
see in the
horrible.
hotels
And
that
it
have
tips
the
over all the time.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
And that's easy. That's an
It's
easy thing.
It's easy. And I think a common misconception is that it's going to cost the employer so
Hmm.
much money. That didn't cost us or the Fairmont where he is now any money.
Because it's government funded.
It's government funded. He has the funding for it, which is really good.
So that's great. Very
in the
good,
bar, for example, like we have, wine jiggers.
And the tampers
They're brilliant.
for coffee.
Yeah, I was going to say
right?
the Tampers. Everyone
So
loves it.
everyone loves the
They're
Tampers.
great. It could puts less. There's a spring-loaded one. There's an automatic one.
We were talking to Ashoria yesterday. What was the one that she was telling
Yeah,
us
like
about?
to pour glasses of wine. Like I haven't seen it yet. I haven't quite pictured what it looks like.
Yeah,
but
so what I picture it, and I'm sure it'll come in the next few weeks, is because we have a trainee that shakes a lot. He can't pour the bottle of wine with that, but it actually pours it from the bottle standing up. So it automatically pours
the right amount.
from the bottle standing up. It's brilliant.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So smart.
Can we talk a little bit about the difference that employing someone with disability makes within the culture of an organization? And I can think of, some of the anecdotes that have been offered to us by our employment partners to say that the difference that this has made. What does it change? What does it do?
What doesn't it do? It's actually incredible how to have just one person, how it changes the whole atmosphere and environment of a hotel, particularly back of house. Like
You've experienced it firsthand
Yes.
too before you came here. So
Yeah.
you're probably one of the people that can really explain it to employers because you've
It lifts the
literally seen
happiness
It- it-
rate
it just-
of the organization, doesn't
yeah,
it?
the fact that you have someone so excited, so enthusiastic, so happy to be at work and to be there and just constantly greeting everyone. And I remember I this particular graduate, I had to have a conversation with him because he was going through the whole hotel at one stage saying good morning to everyone,
Bless.
which was making him late for his shift.
So he just needed to get there way early.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it was wonderful just seeing how happy everyone was to see him, how happy he was there, and that just changed everything back of house. The mood just was constantly a lot better.
I get really homesick from Etico if I've been away for too long. Like if we're in the city with meetings and stuff like that, I get really, really homesick because you walk in here and it's just like, hi, Soraya. Like, and it's just like, it just lifts
It's an injection of happiness. And authenticity. There's a certain level of authenticity,
Absolutely.
especially with people with intellectual disability, autism, Down syndrome. There's just,
I think,
open book.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
people are pleasantly surprised when they work with somebody that has a disability that can actually work and that can, has the skills to be able to work. They have their perception of that person changes, their perception of disability changes. And I think, us three in the room, absolutely, but I think most people go to work because they don't just go to work because it's a job, right? They go, yes, money is needed, makes the world go round, live. But I think most people want to know that they're doing good, and especially at work. I think a lot of people want that, and I think that they get that when it's within their culture.
And that's all we want to do in terms of changing the culture of an organisation. If there are pockets of people that haven't thought about that, they just do it because they need to do it, by working with someone with a disability or working with an organisation that has an inclusive approach to their hiring practices, it just changes completely the perspective and the perception of your employer. You want to work there.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So isn't there an anecdote of the Fairmont Resort that has reported to us that whenever we do training around disability, that's the most attended.
It's their highest.
It's the highest,
the best attended.
The highest
training.
attendee, attendance for training is actually the training that we provide.
Actually, that's a great segue into what does Hotel Etico do for employers? Yes, we help them with the recruitment process and everything, but we are much, much more. So we support them throughout the entire journey, one of our graduates, but there are also employers that don't have our graduates that we support, that we train. So I think it's really important to cover that. Like, what do we do?
At industry level.
At industry level, what do we do? In a nutshell, because we do a lot.
Yeah, we do a lot. Definitely training, and I think that's crucial. And I'd like to also take this opportunity to pretty much ask our partners as well to not be afraid to take us on for training, because I notice even though they might be open and they might already have some graduates with them, there's never not enough training you can have. And with this in hospitality, it's so new that by all means just take advantage of what we can actually.
What is some of the training that we do? Well, what topics or what do we cover?
What do we?
You name it. You've got disability etiquette. You've got autism, Down syndrome. We've got online modules. We also do one-on-one coaching. It's not
with
it's
HR,
not
with supervisors.
And if we don't have the training, we'll find the training. We're not
partnering with others.
Yeah, we're not exclusive. Like if we don't have the training that they want, say mental health or I'm trying to think of something we don't have. But if we don't have
So, for example, the training we did for autism, we did it in partnership with Aspect, right?
With Aspect, yeah, absolutely. And I think that there's such a good movement at the moment within the disability space that we are all collaborative. We're not competitive. We want everybody has the same mission, and that is for people to be more inclusive.
Because it's like raising the tide. All the boats lift. That's another metaphor.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I've never heard that one. Okay, what is it?
If you increase the level of the tide.
No. Say it from the beginning so I can comprehend it. What is it?
Well, it's rising the level of the tide so that all the boats lift.
Never heard it.
Well, so we're working on the tide, on the water, not on the boats. The boats are there. We're working on the water, filling more water in there.
No, I really am not getting that metaphor.
Rises.
Got a better one?
We'll come
Give him some time.
I think another thing with employers is that, well, not the ones we currently work with, they're pretty good, but people are scared to ask questions.
Oh yeah, that's it. And it's really funny because I'll be the first one to call it out when I speak to employers. I'm like, I get it. You're scared. Like fear is normal, and
Absolutely.
it's fine because it's something that's new.
Of the unknown, yes.
Yeah, it's being scared of the unknown, and that's why I keep saying, I'm like, that's why we're here. We are like your
That
little
should be one
source
of our mottos.
of information.
That
Like,
should definitely be one of our mottos.
That's why we're here.
No, the other one.
Which one?
You guys didn't pick up on it. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Like,
Yes.
no. One of our mottos should be: it's normal
it's
to
not.
have fear.
Yeah.
It is normal.
Yeah.
Like, it's a human
Yeah.
nature to have fear.
And especially when you're talking about big businesses, because at the end of the day, you're running an empire. You're running something that's you're scared to bring something new in because you don't know what the impact's going to be.
But again, as I said to an audience of hoteliers a few months ago, like, no one's going to sue you. You're actually offering a job to someone. You're giving an opportunity of a lifetime to someone. They're not going to take you on for saying the wrong word or
Exactly.
for, approaching things in the wrong way. You're there to help them, and you open up a completely different world.
Everybody has the right to sue, not just somebody with a disability. You probably have more likelihood of being sued by somebody that doesn't have a disability.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
It would be actually really, really good idea if we could, when we actually tell them that they've been recruited, to get the reaction, like a video reaction of the graduate and
Yes.
also the
that would be
family.
great. Yeah.
Yes.
Because
as a live
I think
thing.
I think that's what in our process the employers miss. They'll see them
The joy.
enthusiastic and everything when they start, and they'll see them all nervous in their interviews. But that, by all means, don't take it away from me. That's my favorite part of the job. But yeah,
Go and knock
I
on the
think
door.
it's something
I
that
love
would
that
be
part
really
of the
cool.
job. I love it. I love it when the employers call me and just to say, hey, like this, they're amazing, or hey, come and visit, surprise them, come and see them. I think that's one of my favorite parts of my job. Definitely fills my cup.
So you must be always on the road.
I've gotten used to driving, that's for sure.
Lots of podcast listening.
Yeah.
Actually, no,
This will give you content.
She won't listen to this one.
Oh no, I can't listen to my own voice.
Or the other episodes.
Yeah, definitely the other episodes. No, I actually love I'm a very big car karaoke girl. So I'm literally like when I'm driving up here,
Oh my
It's
God.
the
I've got-
bangers. I
We
do
need
the
a
same
camera.
thing.
We need
No.
a camera in there.
Oh my God, yes. Let's do it. I'm the same. I'm like, I need the bangers. I had some great bangers on my own. But sometimes, like the morning, sometimes I prefer a podcast because I can just, definitely on the way home, I'm a podcast person, but sometimes you just need some pep music.
All right, let's get back to serious stuff.
What's not serious about that?
What are the biggest challenges in moving from providing jobs to creating careers, lasting careers for people with disabilities? What's the difference? What is there a difference?
I think it's actually the graduates. That's probably the biggest challenge because they are so happy with whatever they get that they won't be picky. They won't be aspirational. And I constantly have to be encouraging them.
Yeah,
I'm
we
like,
teach them.
guys, you need to be able to communicate what you want. You need to communicate. If you're interested in a different department, like let us know, talk about it. Because
true.
you
And we've had people moving around from within
Yeah.
the same hotels or other
Yeah,
different
yeah.
hotels. Yeah.
You're right. Actually, I never really thought about that because, it's not necessarily the employers that don't want to
'Cause
build
they
a
don't know
career
what they don't know,
pathway.
basically.
That's a big hurdle. I know it. I've never said it out loud. I love this podcast. It's true though.
100%. Like that's
And so how do we support them to think of a career rather than a job?
Surely building confidence.
it's building confidence.
How do you do that?
Oh,
Having actually honest chats with them about things, about the options that they have, making sure that, they're actually comfortable and confident within the role they're currently doing. Yeah, I definitely think and being able to also help them get the confidence to speak to their employers about it as well. I think that's
I think
another
the 1
challenge.
year here really does help though to build that
yeah.
confidence. So like the confidence that they have at the start
Yeah,
to when
absolutely.
they graduate, like that's already
Yeah,
something
absolutely.
that they never thought. That
And so, in terms of how you provide the support, obviously, we said you're on the road a lot. You see them, you talk to them, you call them, you email them. You got lots of touch points.
Yeah.
But you also have a bit of a team of people, I suppose, that go around and work with them, right? Of support workers.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, how does that work? What do they do? How are they always with them? Are they always with the graduates?
So when they first commence a role, I've made sure that they have a support worker with them for the first month, so that they get used to the routine. The team from the employer's side have someone that they can actually give what needs to be done, so that they can work on getting them on the routine rather than the employer having to get them into it. And after that, it's really just checking to see what the individual needs.
And then you slowly pull
And slowly,
away.
yeah, and slowly start pulling away. Some of them will turn around and tell us that they don't need them from 1 week to the next. I can think of a couple that have done
Yeah.
that to me.
That's great.
Yeah,
it is great.
it's the best
Is it
feeling.
the employer tells you that, or the
No,
graduate?
the graduate.
Amazing.
But there's also, I think there's a level of trust with the employer to reach out if they need help. Like
Yes.
we also like we've backed away support once completely for a year because they were completely fine in their job. They didn't not the touch points and stuff, but I meant the one-on-one on the job support. And then a year later, he's like, yeah, so I want to move into another job.
Great.
So and then the support was back, to get into a new routine and stuff. So I think Etico, it's like the hotel. You never leave, right?
Yes, we talked about the Hotel California. And this is like for employers, like who actually covers the cost of that support worker? Who pays for it?
NDIS.
Yeah.
So we cover that cost
Yeah, we cover it.
through the NDIS,
Yeah.
effectively.
So our participants have the funding for
Yeah.
that ongoing
Yeah,
support.
so the employer actually doesn't have to do anything.
No.
Just let us know.
And also the disability services that we work with, the DES
Yeah.
providers that
Yes.
we work with also have
There's
that
job
same
subsidies
support.
as well.
There's job subsidies
support.
but they do on the job support. They're a third party for us. Like we aren't a DES provider, so they're a third party. They keep us pretty honest, and they basically help our graduates as well. So they have two, which is really
Great.
good. It's all about wraparound support.
Yeah.
Any advice because we need to probably start wrapping it up. Any advice that you would give to businesses that might be listening to us, that if they were interested in becoming more inclusive in their hiring practices, or interested in, employing someone with disability or working with us?
Call us.
Call us.
I think, and don't be
1-800.
scared. We don't have a 1-800 number, just putting it out there. But also, I think the biggest one is just don't be scared.
Yeah.
There's no stupid question either.
It's normal to be scared to introduce something new. And yeah, it's just that little leap, making that little leap, and just finding.
Even if we don't have a graduate necessarily, we can still help them employ other people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can help them, with training, or we can help them finding an avenue where they can start developing what they need to be able to actually employ someone with a disability.
And we are starting to build up the numbers quite a bit. So we can now sort of cover quite a few different regions in terms of where the employees can come from.
Yes.
Because we were saying in previous episodes that, our trainees come from 2 or 3 hours away from Mount Victoria, which means, like all the way from Canberra to Bathurst to the Blue Mountains, Sutherland Shire, Northern Beaches, Newcastle. And so then
City.
if I'm from Newcastle, and I'm a graduate, I can probably look for a job even north of Newcastle or west of Newcastle. Like there's the radius keeps increasing.
Yeah.
And so we've recently set up this neat little thing on our dashboard on our system, right? You and I, that shows us the map coverage.
The map, yeah, it's so good.
It's so good because it shows us the map coverage of where our trainees are coming from and where the employers are. And so you can do it's fantastic.
I know.
Yes.
I know. I've been. I work in the same office as you two, and you two just get all excited about it and stuff. And I'm like, geeks be geeking out. I've got one last question for you.
Okay.
Are you finished?
Yes.
With your questions?
Yes.
And this is going to be a really tough one. And I think I'm going to do it to all of our staff when we interview them. What is your favourite part or aspect of your job? What gets you out of bed to come to work every day? What's your favourite?
The alarm.
I can't say you two.
You can say us too. That's a compliment.
You're not allowed to suck up to us.
Damn it. Okay.
I'll take it on board. Suck up all you like.
Oh, that one's a hard one.
So obviously it's us, Andrea.
That's really, really hard. I really enjoy just the relationships that I create with the trainees and with the graduates. It's like someone else that's super excited to see you. Honestly, I absolutely love that feeling, and I get so excited to come up here, especially since, I have a 2-hour drive to get here.
It's not an easy hike.
Big commitment.
But yeah, no, and it's really funny because sometimes I'm like, okay, I've got this, I can do this, and waking up at 5 a.m. or 5:30, and I'm just like, I can do this, and then I walk through these doors, and I'm just like, yeah, this is why I do it.
I mean, your job is one of the hardest one. And I'm not just saying it because you're here. Like the rate of success is critical. And like for any one of us, to get one job, you probably need to do 10 interviews, and so it takes a long time. And so once you lock that person in, it's like, yes, it's like you're too young to remember the ad from H&R Block, which is a tax agent.
I know what H&R Block is.
There was a lady that was doing the accounts and finding a saving for a customer, for a client, and she goes like, she looks around and she goes, yes.
I think I've seen it.
I think I have seen it too.
Yeah, I think it's online.
In Queensland, we used to have very different ads. Like you know how it's NRMA down here? It's RACQ up there. If you're ever bored, YouTube, RACQ ads, they are the greatest thing you'll ever see. It's way better than yes.
Yeah, well, but the satisfaction, the level of that sense of satisfaction, and which
definitely the level of satisfaction once they get a role is incredible.
But
you're saying also the smile in their face when they see you.
It can be deflating though.
But it like
exhausting.
I remember my first week where I got multiple rejections for them, and I was pretty much in a ball on the floor
right there with you.
chocolates.
Yeah, it's really hard.
We have lots of chocolate. That's fine. We have a stash of chocolates for those things. There's really tough weeks.
Yeah.
The rejection.
But that's why we do what we do, because it's hard.
I know.
We don't do it because it's easy.
Yeah,
everyone would do it. Everybody would do it.
Whose quote that is, right?
Yours.
JFK.
Okay, no.
We choose
I'm not
to
great.
go to the moon, not because it's easy. We choose to go into the moon because it's hard.
Okay, if I can't get metaphors right, what makes you think I'm going to get quotes right?
Listen to me.
There are many things that are great about me, but there are many things that aren't. That is one.
Okay.
I think there are more great
Noted.
things than.
Oh, thank you, Sophie. You really are a sucker today.
Thank you.
Anything else to close this off?
No, I think that's a wrap.
Yeah, that's a wrap. Well, Sophia, it's been a great pleasure to have you.
You'll be on again because we barely scratched the surface of how we can help people.
Absolutely. You'll be a regular.
Thanks.
She's like, uh-oh.
You sound excited.
The first one is done and dusted, and
It's fun.
And I have to say, you've got a great voice.
Yeah, you do.
I don't know if it's
somebody
the
that
mic or
doesn't
something, but you got a great warm voice
calming.
for
Thanks, guys.
for radio.
Makes me feel a little bit better about my voice.
I like it.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Sophia. Thanks to our listeners, and don't forget to subscribe, like, follow,
I don't think we've ever said that before. Do people still subscribe and like?
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
people still
very,
do that.
very important. So
Just ask
send
William.
suggestions.
Oh yeah, actually you're right, Lila. I need a subscriber.
We need a few influencers out there that sort of
All right.
like
Okay, Lila and William.
Yeah. Okay, Lila is my daughter and William is
That's
hear
right.
that.
But yes, we'll close it here. We thank everyone for listening, and until next time, from Andrea Comastri,
And Sarah O'Connell.
let's make room for all.
And keep fighting for inclusion.